Hello and welcome to today's lesson. I'm your hard-working but indefatigable teacher, Mr. Burton. You will need to watch this video and take notes as you go. You may need to watch certain parts of the video a few times to ensure complete understanding. This is your homework and I will check your notes tomorrow before we get started. I hope you learned something.
Okay, hello and welcome. We are looking at subsidies again today, but this time specifically the higher level component. So that will be the supply and demand equations associated with market equilibrium and then the effects of a subsidy after that. Okay, so we can calculate the equilibrium price and quantity for any good or service if we know these supply and demand functions. And we know that the demand function takes form QD equals A minus BP. Example demand equation there, QD equals 100 minus 10p. And our upward sloping supply function, QS equals C plus DP, that's standard form. And example here is QS equals minus 40 plus 10p. Right, so given two demand and supply equations, we can calculate the equilibrium quantity demanded and the equilibrium quantity supplied and determine the price. So we know an equilibrium quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. Therefore, the demand equation must equal a supply equation. So taking the second parts of these equations, the demand equation, 100 minus 10p equals the quantity supplied equation, minus 40 plus 10p. And now we're going to simplify to find the price, which is P. So taking our minus 40 across the other side of the equals line, that minus 40 becomes plus 40. And we have 100 plus 40 minus 10p equals 10p. So that must be 60 minus 10p equals 10p. Let's take that negative 10p across to the right-hand side of the equals line. We add it because it was subtracting over the other side. So we now have 140 equals 20p, and now we just divide that 140 out by 20. So price must equal $7. 140 divided by 20 equals 7. P is 7. P is price. Price is $7. And now just a simple substitution to find equilibrium quantities. At price equals 7, the quantity supplied is minus 40 plus 10p. So that's plus 10 times 7, which is the price, P being the price. Minus 40 plus 70, quantity supplied must be 30. Okay, with that initial market equilibrium, now suppose the government implements a $2 unit subsidy. So we're now looking to determine a new supply function. Price becomes price plus the subsidy. And it's not just simply adding on $2 to our initial price of $7, because we know when a subsidy is granted, the price that producers receive increases and the price that consumers pay decreases in the market. Let's have a look. Here goes our supply function, the standard form, which any supply function is based around. Now with the subsidy, our supply function becomes QS equals C plus D multiplied, instead of just by P this time, it's P plus the subsidy. Sub equals per unit subsidy. Okay, back to our supply function, QS equals minus 40 plus 10p. We have QS equals minus 40 plus 10. Instead of the P, it's now P plus 2, 2 being the subsidy, the $2 subsidy. And once we simplify that out, we have minus 40 equals 10p plus 20. So that's multiplying each term in the brackets by 10. And our new supply function becomes minus 20 plus 10p. And because we know how to plot that, we can go ahead and do that no problem at all. With the new supply function, we can now solve for P sub, price per subsidy, and Q sub, quantity demanded and supplied with the subsidy. So at equilibrium now, we have 100 minus 10p equals our new supply function, which we just worked out, minus 20 plus 10p. So again, we're going to need to simplify to find p. Q equals minus 20 plus 10p. And here we have our workings step by step by step. The new equilibrium price is $6. That's the price that consumers pay in the market. That's where the new supply meets the new the existing demand. The price that consumers pay in the market has fallen, not by $2 by the amount of the subsidy, by $1. And substituting in, we can find the equilibrium quantity demanded and the quantity supplied. Here we've worked out the quantity supplied, and if you'd like to check that, you can just plug that into the quantity demanded equation. Right, plotting the subsidy. We have our initial supply equation, minus 40 plus 10p, quantity supplied. We have our demand equation. Demand equation won't change with the subsidy. That will stay there. Demand equation, QD equals 100 minus 10p. Subsidy increases supply. We worked out the new supply equation. Quantity supplied now equals minus 20 plus 10p. The price with the subsidy was $6, and the quantity supplied and demanded with the subsidy jumped out to 40. So to plot the new supply curve associated with the per unit subsidy, we're just going to count down $2 on the price axis and plot 1 point. Once we've got that, we're just going to draw a parallel line to the initial supply curve. So the hard work comes with plotting our initial supply and demand equations. That's where the most working out is done. And once we have these in, then it's very easy just to take the supply curve down by $2 and make it parallel to the existing supply curve. Subsidies.